Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. On this episode, I'm joined by Lexi Reyngoudt of the band Spaced. So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up! What's going on, Caffeinated crew? Today, I'm joined by Lexi from Spaced. This is the second Spaced person.
Yeah, you and John.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm sipping my Dunkin iced coffee. You know, nectar of the gods, one might say.
It's America runs on Dunkin.
I know. It's so funny because like Scott Vogel, like, because he lives in Buffalo now. And so he's like a good friend now. He like loves Dunkin. And I think the day that he found out that I also love Dunkin, he's like, yes. And I was like,
you just straight up like that.
I was like, my fucking dog.
Yeah, I feel like every Northeastern old head in hardcore, like they're built on Dunkin as well.
Yeah. Boston, like people are, it's really, honestly, like Boston, like Dunkin, once you get into New England, it truly does taste better. Like the Dunkin, like near where I live is really good. Never has let me down. But like you go into New England, it's like a whole different level.
You got to get as close to like the roasting plant as possible. The closer you get, the better it tastes. I don't know if that's the rule or not, but
it sounds like it would make sense.
Yeah. But Brian from Death Before Dishonor told me he drinks like 3 giant iced coffees from Dunkin a day. And I was like, your heart.
That's so sick. Like BG from Risk is also like, I remember I posted something about like Dunkin and we were going to Europe. I think it was last year when we were like just about to go to Europe. And he was like, dude, that venue you're playing in Berlin, 20-minute walk from a Dunkin. And I was like, BG, thank you. I didn't end up going because we just like didn't have enough time. But it's good to know that like I have people out there that are like, you can go here when you're like all the way over there and you can still like get a taste of home.
What's the deal with that? So Berlin gets a Dunkin' Donuts. Montreal gets nothing.
I don't know. It's funny because like they have Tim Hortons over there too. Like we were in Manchester the first time we went over with Comeback Kid and we were like walking in like city center of Manchester and our driver was like, Tim Hortons is a thing in like where you guys live, right? We're like, oh yeah, dude, like you go 5 minutes down the road and you see a Tim Hortons and then you go another 5 minutes and there's another Tim Hortons. He's like, yeah, there's one right there. And we were like, oh my God.
I don't even remember seeing the Tim Hortons when I was there. That's crazy.
It's like there's a Tim Hortons and then there's like a Primark. It has like everything.
Yeah. Okay. By the mall right there. Yeah.
Yes. But I was like, what the fuck? It is funny because like, I don't even think I saw that many Dunkin' as I saw as Tim Hortons over there, which weird to me. But
I mean, I don't think Tim's is. Let's just say I like Dunkin'.
So I could like Tim Hortons in Canada is better, but Tim Hortons in the States is like genuinely upsetting. Like
the donut quality, how is that? I don't know how the donuts are
terrible. Yeah. I mean, not that Dunkin' Donuts coffee, like their donuts are amazing, but it's edible. I don't know. Like let's just say there's a Dunkin' for like 3 minutes down the road and there's a Tim Hortons 3 minutes down the road and I'm always going to Dunkin'.
I mean, yeah, the coffee is roasted better at Dunkin'.
Yes.
Statistically.
Yes. Many say
also,
that.
I mean, I've tried both extensively and I think that Dunkin' is better, but also McDonald's coffee in Canada is better than Tim's coffee.
McDonald's coffee is good. I'm going to just say it. My only beef is that they don't have like plant-based milk. And like, I'm not vegan, but like, you know, as you get older, lactose is not agreeing with me anymore. So I'm not trying to have a coffee with whole milk in it.
Mm-mm.
And it just doesn't taste the same. Like I'm not rocking with it. So that's my
Yeah.
only problem. But
Does Tim's have plant-based milk? I don't know
yeah,
if
they
they
have
do.
oat milk and like almond milk here. I
That
think
should
they
tell you
have
how
soy
much
milk too, but no one's
soy milk
ordering
is
that.
gross.
Yeah, no one's doing that.
I started working at a cafe and I always like whenever somebody orders something with whole milk, I mean with soy milk, I have to like keep myself from making a weird face. Like you want your latte with soy milk?
I know.
Yeah.
I think like right before oat milk became super popular and like almond milk was like the plant-based milk. Like I went to school at this place called Fredonia. It's like an hour south of Buffalo, and there was a Starbucks on campus. And I would like always get like an iced chai latte with almond milk. And so I
Mhm.
went and I was like, hey, can I get an iced chai latte with almond milk? And they're like, oh, we're out of almond milk. And I was like, can I get it with soy milk? And they were like, yeah. And I tasted it. I was like, this tastes like sadness.
It's too thin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like oat milk is it's the same, I feel like, thickness as regular milk. Like I feel like it's the most similar. And also it just tastes good. Like genuinely tastes so good. I like
Mhm.
almond milk too, but oat milk is my by far my favorite.
So I was on oat milk for a very long time and then I admittedly just switched back to whole milk
Oh,
only
wow.
because I've been practicing latte art a lot
Okay.
and I don't want to waste the milk. So
That's valid.
yeah. And I find that it hasn't been as like upsetting to the gut as I thought it was
Okay.
before.
Yeah.
Also, oat milk has hella sugar. So
Yeah. That's
uh,
definitely true.
and I'm trying like to cut back on sugar, but I do love the taste of oat milk is
Yeah.
incredible. So
That's extremely valid.
I think that everything tastes better with oat milk. Whole milk is the thickness is better, but yeah, I don't enjoy the flavor so much.
Yeah.
I would love to go back to oat milk.
Yeah. That's the thing is like even now, just like the flavor of milk. Like I remember one time I was in an airport and I like got a cappuccino because it was like the closest thing of something that I would drink. And I just took a sip and I was like, this just tastes like hot milk and I want to throw up. I was like, this is terrible. I was like, it's 7 a.m. I don't want to be drinking this. I just spent $7 on this shitty cup of
Oh,
coffee. And so I just like went to the convenience store and just like grabbed a water and was like, I'm just gonna deal with it.
did you ever try the Coca-Cola with coffee in it?
Um, no. Interesting. I love Coke, Coca-Cola.
There used to be like a third wave drink that was popular. It was called an Americola. And you would take like a Mexican Coke over ice, 2 shots of espresso. And I think Coca-Cola caught on to it because they made Coca-Cola black like in the early 2000s, like
Yeah.
2007. And it didn't do well. But then they brought it back and it was like Coca-Cola infused with coffee. And they had dark and vanilla. I haven't found it. I think they discontinued it in Canada, but I'm not sure if they did in the States. But they're like little
Honestly, though,
slim cans.
the like Mexican Coke with espresso sounds delicious.
It's
I am that
crazy.
person. Like I love espresso tonic, like coffee sodas, espresso lemonade. Like
Mm,
I am that person that is drinking that.
cold brew
I,
lemonade.
so good.
Cold brew lemonade on tap is an extraordinary thing.
Yeah. My friend, we went to a Dunkin'. They live in New Jersey. We were going to their Dunkin'. They're like, hey, can I get a lemonade and can I add 2 shots of espresso into it? And literally they called the manager over and was like, are we allowed to do this? And they were like, are you sure you want this? And they were like, yes, it's an espresso lemonade. They're like, of course I want this. I wouldn't order it if I didn't want it. And I was like, this is so funny because like they totally just like don't get it.
Mm-mm.
It's
It's the,
fine.
it's the corporate overlords. They don't want you getting on to thinking for
Yeah.
yourself, ordering lemonade with
Big coffee.
espresso. We're
Yeah.
taking down big coffee one Dunkin' at a time.
Amen.
I know that you said you were drinking your Dunkin'. What is the Dunkin's order?
So I get the original iced coffee, which I think is just like a medium roast. I don't know. It might be a light roast actually. I'm not sure. And then I get oat milk and French vanilla swirl in it. And Normally, like I used to be like a double type of person.
Okay.
Um, but so like I used to get like a flavor shot and then sugar in it. But Dunkin' iced coffee is extremely sweet. And the like vanilla swirl is super sweet.
Mhm.
So I like immediately was like, no sugar, like just get the flavor shot. And even then, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is crazy sweet.
Mm.
But I do like my coffee sweet. So this is like perfect for me. And like I feel like the color is just this is the what I want my iced coffee to look like.
I was gonna say it's browner than you would expect a Dunkin' iced coffee to look.
Yeah. Like sometimes that's the thing though. When you get down south and you're at a Dunkin', it's gonna be like milk.
Oh, it's white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the closer you get to Boston, the better it gets.
In my neck of the woods, all those Dunkins, just white coffees.
Yeah.
Everything's white.
Oh.
Yeah. It's good.
Terrible.
Love it. Because we have sweet tea too. Sweet tea is like syrup, right? It's like iced sweet tea. So yeah, everything's sweet.
Yeah. I'm good.
That's why everybody's all talks really slow. It's because you got molasses in your mouth.
Oh, that's actually a good way to put it. I like that.
You gotta talk like you got molasses flowing out of your mouth. I'm drinking a coffee that I just picked up in Ottawa on Friday. It's my favorite Ottawa shop, and it's called Little Victories.
Okay.
Like beautiful shop. They have like, you know, the coffee shop where you walk in and like the espresso bar is really nice, but then they have another counter that does like just pour overs and stuff.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. It's one of those.
That's
in Ottawa, which is crazy. Anybody listening, if you've been to Ottawa, you know.
Minimalist decorations.
Yeah, everything. They even have like this little panel on the wall that looks like an old train flipboard.
Yes.
But they put what you can get on drip or single origin espresso.
That's it. That is sick. It. That's like me and John on tour. We find a coffee shop and he walks in, he goes, yes. Like, it's so funny. He goes, this is it. This is it. Like, literally, I remember one time, I think we were in Palm Springs, California.
Wow.
We stopped there on the way because we were playing Phoenix that night, but the Bills were playing. So there was a Bills backer bar in Palm Springs. So Joe, Donnie, and Dan went to the bar. And John and I were like, yo, we need coffee right now because it's like 11 a.m. there. Probably earlier, actually. And we went to this one coffee shop. Sucked. Terrible. And then he was like, I can't do this. We have to find a better coffee shop. And I was like, sure. And we found this place. I'm not even joking. From the outside, hole in the wall. But you walk in, white walls. Literally, all you have is the espresso bar. They have like the like board where you peg in the like letters. And John was like, this is it. He was like, this is all I needed. I think they had espresso tonic too. So I was like, let's go. I'm ready. So we were like so happy after that. But it was the most like third wave cafe I've ever seen in my entire life.
I wish I can. You need to tell me what the name of it is.
I can't remember. But we have a show later, so I can ask John and be like, do you remember what this place was called?
He's got it saved on his map. You know he does.
Yeah, he definitely has it like saved somewhere in his notes because he's a psycho.
Oh, John. I feel like I scared him when y'all came through.
No, you definitely didn't.
Because it had been so
afterwards.
Okay. It had been so long since we talked. And then like I like walked up, I'm like, you don't remember me? And he was like, no.
That was like that point in the tour where you're like getting the halfway point where like your brain's starting to fry a bit. Mm-hmm. So like, because I think that was like day 5 of like 6 straight shows in a row. And like, we normally are like fine. But first, it was a bigger tour, like Military Gun. Like we were loading in at like 3 p.m. and then we were sitting around until like 6 p.m. when we would sound check. And we would play at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So like a lot of sitting, a lot of waiting. The drives weren't bad, but it was like just enough that we were like, I'm tired. So yeah, it takes a lot out of you. But we did talk about it and he was like, he's so nice. So
shout out, John. Anyway, from Little Victories, this is Colombia La Argentina. It is a pink bourbon.
Ooh.
Yeah. So nice and fruity. It's got a lot of peach, marmalade or marmalade, depending on where you're from, and honeydew.
That sounds so good.
But that's their pack. It's got otters on it, which I am a fan of.
I don't like the brown bag.
I don't like the brown bag, and I don't like the whole thing. I think is stamped. I just don't like it.
I mean, like, I'm cool with like a stamp. So, like, speaking of John again, he works at Overwinter in Buffalo, and they like stamp on the labels, but they have like a black, like, sleek, like bag, and then they put the sticker on with the stamp and all that. So, like, I rock with that. I just feel like the bag, like paper bags feel weird. They do. Let's all be honest. And it, like, I feel like it wouldn't keep the beans as like fresh.
This feels like it's going to disintegrate. Like if I hold it too long in my hand, like my oils are going to disintegrate. It's like very craft paper bag.
Oh yeah.
So I'm scared for
Little Victories. Up that bag game.
Up it. You want to be respected in the Canadian roasting scene. I'm just gonna, look at Traffic. They've got great bags. Look at we're just talking about what?
Do some research.
Yeah, just do it. It's funny because my friend in Ottawa, John, he also named John. He runs the Real Bean Bandit on Instagram.
Okay.
And so we always meet up and have coffee. This is his favorite shop. And every time we go, he's like, yeah, the bags are garbage. I'm like, oh my God, just blasting these guys. So yeah, Little Victories.
Well, at least the coffee's good.
Oh, it's so good.
That's the most important part, honestly.
And they have a Slayer. I don't know if you know about espresso machines much.
Not really.
They have a Slayer, which is like the sickest espresso machine.
Okay. That's cool.
Everyone is completely custom, different build.
It
built by
sounds like
hand.
it'd be cool.
Yeah, they look like spaceships.
Oh, hell yeah.
So cool.
That's awesome.
So it's a cool shop. If y'all ever play Ottawa, Little Victories.
All right. I mean, we played there with Military Gun, but we should definitely go back. Everybody was like, you need to play like a legit hardcore show here. And we're like, okay, whenever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be the right bill on the right day.
That's what a lot of people were saying. They were like, there's this one kid who was like, yo, I book hardcore shows at this blah, blah, blah. I think he said it was like a cafe or something. And I was like, yeah, dude, just hit us up. It's literally only 5 hours away. Like we would make just like a trip out of it.
Yeah, it's probably coast to coast.
Probably. Yeah, I can't remember.
He books a lot over there. He booked us with Gates to Hell.
Oh, that's sick.
On a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And the turnout was like not awesome.
I hate that.
But it was before Hold Your Ground. So we were like, yeah, let's just do it. And then we'll drive.
Yeah. I love Gates to Hell.
I love that band.
Love them as people and the band in general. So awesome. I feel bad because they played Buffalo and like it was right before the scene got really good. So like the show was so like genuinely it made me sad. And it was a cool bill. It was Gates to Hell, Ballista, Broken Vow, and Final Declaration. Yeah, dude.
Crazy bill.
I know. And I was like, I remember afterwards I was like, I'm sorry, guys. And like they're like, it's okay. Like, you're our friend. Like, we're happy to be here and hang out with our friends. And like, I remember they posted something about that show. Like, someone said it was like a tweet that was like, what was like the worst city you played this year? And someone said Buffalo. And Gates to Hell replied and was like, hey, we played Buffalo. It was a bad show, but like, it was our friends. And I was like, I fucking love you guys.
Yeah.
And now they're like the biggest band in the world.
Huge. I
know. And now I'm like, fuck, I got to get them back here. And I know that they would totally like be down to just like book through like me and like all the other guys that are like booking like the hardcore shows here. Cause I really need to get them a better show. Like it made me so upset.
I don't know if they didn't come through. Oh, they did play Montreal. I think they played Montreal the night before Ottawa. I can't remember. I didn't go. So apologies. But it was also because I was getting ready for Hold Your Ground weekend. Yes.
That was the first year, right?
No, second year.
Oh, okay. I didn't go to the second year.
Did y'all play the first year?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't go.
That's okay. I'm
It
going
looked crazy.
this year. I will be there.
Oh, is that a spoiler?
Maybe.
Oh,
I mean, like, it's also close.
I'm telling Jessa spoiling stuff.
I don't know. I might be there to like just hang out. Also, Jessa wants me to do like after party karaoke. So
Where's that happening? That sounds sick.
I don't know. We haven't figured out the logistics yet, but she's like, because the first year when Hold Your Ground first year, because we played and Denial of Life played, and like immediately me and Brenna just like became like besties. Like I love that woman. And she was like, what are you guys doing after this? And it was just me, Donnie, and our friend Rob was filling in on drums. And like John and Joe had gone back to Buffalo already. And me, Donnie, and Rob were like, we just got the hotel over there. Like, we have nothing planned. I was like, yo, let's do karaoke. And I found a karaoke bar nearby. And originally it was literally just me, Rob, Donnie, and Brenna. And I was texting like Tom from Enervate. I was like, yo, come through. And he was like, bet, we'll come through. We'll bring Infamy. And we were like sick. So it was like just gonna be like a couple of friends. And I was drinking a lot. I'm not even joking. I feel like I blinked and like half of Hold Your Ground was just in this small room with us. Like Jessa was in there. Jordan from Momentum was there. Our friend Zach was in there. Like Prowl showed up.
Of course.
So, like Max was there. And I'm like, a couple of the guys from Denial of Life came too. And I'm like genuinely borderline blackout drunk. And I'm like singing every song. And so Jessa was like the day after, she's like, dude, you are the queen of karaoke. I need you to do an after show one time and like just host karaoke. And I was like, I'm in. Like sober or not, like I love karaoke. It's so fun.
When you get to the karaoke bar, I'm sure this also depends on what level of drunk you already are.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first song that you're putting in?
See, like that's really hard to think because it's like it depends on the crowd. Like if I'm like with my friends, like say people from the scene, I'm going butt rock or like Linkin Park or something like that. Like something that I know will get the crowd going. But like if I'm like with people who like primarily don't go to hardcore shows, I'm probably gonna pick something a little bit different. Every time we touch by Cascada, that's one.
Mm-hmm.
I love doing that one.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it gets everybody hyped up. You can't say no.
I wouldn't say it's a hot take. It may be an unpopular opinion just because people don't want to admit it. If you pick any killer song,
that's a good one
for anyone.
Yeah, it gets the people going.
It gets the people going. It's provocative.
Amen.
Yeah, never fails. The Killers.
That's a smart one. Yeah, that's a really good one. Actually, I'm gonna write that down.
Mr. Brightside. Everyone knows it.
Yeah, white people love it.
White people love it.
They eat that shit up.
I went to a Killer show. All white people. Yeah. Crazy.
Oh my God. That's probably the whitest crowd ever.
It was amazing.
They do.
I mean, the show is amazing.
Yeah. Like they are genuinely a good band.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think my wife was one of like 3 non-white people in the whole crowd.
That's insane.
At like a 20,000 person venue.
Have you ever just like been in like any sort of large event and you like look around and you're like, there are only white people here? And you're like,
it's kind of scary.
Yeah. And like, obviously you and I are white, but like at one point I'm like, so there's like this carnival that happens in West Seneca where I live. It's called the Queen of Heaven Carnival. And the beer tent is the largest beer tent in Western New York. So like all of like me and all of our friends, like it is an event. And I just remember the last time I went, I didn't go last year because we were in Europe, but I remember it's me and like all my friends and like that 99% of us are queer. Like, so we're just sitting there and we all look around and we're like, yo, there are a lot of white Republicans here and we fully do not fit into this crowd. And we were like, we just like had 5 minutes. We're like, oh, I feel a little unsafe. And we're like, no one cares. And then we just like kept going. But like there was a moment where we were like, holy shit. Like I remember I turned around, there was a guy wearing like a QAnon shirt, and I was like, awesome. This is great.
That's crazy.
But like the beer tent is big enough that you could like move away. So like you aren't feeling super unsafe. But it was like, holy shit, what is happening right now?
To be fair, I feel like a lot of those people are like on the internet and
Yes.
they're like, oh, I'm on the internet. I'm safe. I can, display all of my crazy
Yeah.
opinions. But in person, if you did step them up,
They are crazy.
oh, you think so? Like they would
Some of
actually,
them.
okay.
It depends.
I just feel like I've known a lot of people like that where I was like, you actually believe that? Like you actually hate immigrants? And then
Oh,
they
I'm
like,
sure most of them are pussies, but like
yeah.
you can tell it's like the crazy ones, like the look in their eyes, and you're like, all right, I'm sorry. I'll walk away.
The white rage is real with this one.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, I'm just gonna move on. I'm like I'm not ignoring it, but like I do not want to put myself in that situation.
That's good. Just remove yourself.
Yeah.
I'm going to go drink my beer over there.
Literally. I was like, I'm okay.
Are you a fan of the Channel 5 like Andrew Callahan stuff?
So like I watched his documentary that came out last year. I really liked that. Like I literally watched it with my parents, and like my parents are like left-wing people, so like they're cool. So, but I watched it and I was like, you guys would like this. So I like sat down and watched it again with them. And they were like, what the fuck is going on? They were like, my dad was like, I know that there are people like this out there, but it's crazy to like see it and like have documentation of it. But it is crazy, like, especially like him putting himself in those situations. Like, I think in the documentary, there's like, this guy was like saying how like the Democrats are like pedophiles. And he was like, actually, I have these receipts right here that shows that you are not allowed to be in like a 500-foot radius of schools because you are a registered sex offender. And the dude was like, and I was like,
He like I don't know if I could ever put myself in that position.
Absolutely not.
But I think it's because of his approach. That's what is so good. It's like he's like wearing the oversized suit. He looks like a complete dork.
Yeah.
And then like it's not like he's actually saying stuff like outright to people. He's basically like, what do you think about this? And then he's just like long pause holding the mic in front of them so that they reach a point where they're like, I don't know what to say anymore. Actually, I think about this, and like just very calmly like lays it all out. I really like his approach to things.
Yeah. My thing is I would get way too angry. Like genuinely, like when I'm around things, like I just shut down. I'm just like you can see my face just like turn like stone cold when like I'm really angry and upset about something. So I just wouldn't be able to like deal with it. Like I remember one time I was driving by a Planned Parenthood and there were people outside just like protesting, standing there. And I just rolled down my window. I was like, you look like fucking idiots. And I was like, I really didn't have to do that. Like, but like my instant reaction was just to yell.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the face thing is very difficult.
Yeah. I can't hold it in.
Mm-mm.
My emotions show on my face.
My wife often tells me like, we'll be somewhere and somebody will do something like very cringe, or like my reaction in my head is what the hell. But my wife is like, we can see what you're thinking right now. And I'm like, oh fuck, sorry.
Yeah. Like my now fiance, that was crazy. He like is one who can like deal with those situations. I like, it's so funny. He's like so calm and collected. And I'm just like standing there like have the like biggest resting bitch face. Mm-hmm. And he's like, stop it. I'm like, you can't. And I'm like, sorry.
Fix your face. You know, like the Michael Scott face where he's like, looking at Toby with like the gritted teeth. That's how I feel like that is how I look a lot of the time.
Yeah, same. Yeah. 100%.
How'd you get into hardcore?
Let's see. So I think like I got really, really into pop punk like 2014. And that's when I graduated from high school. And then I got really into Warped Tour metalcore like
Hell
immediately
yeah.
afterwards. So I was listening to like Asking Alexandria, Of Mice and Men, like Memphis Mayfire. And then the next year I went to Warped Tour to see bands like that. And I had a great time. But so I was going to school at Fredonia, and the music scene there, it's like usually taking bands from Buffalo and like getting them down there to play at this bar called BJ's. And they have a thing called BJ's Fest every year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a tiny little festival. It's like instead of doing a 3-band bill, they do 5. Which like it's cool. Like I used to book that. So it is like fun to do and like fun to go to, especially when like you're at this small college town, there's nothing to do. So there was this band called Bungler that played in Fredonia, and they're like a metalcore band, but like a cool metalcore band. So I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And my fiance at the time was like, if you like this, you need to listen to Every Time I Die. And I was like, bet. So I started listening to Every Time I Die. And then we went to Shitmas that year, which before to the season. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Because they were playing at this venue called Waiting Room. It's shut down now, but it was like a 500 cap venue. No barricade. People stage diving like crazy. And I was just like, this is awesome. I'm really into this. And so from there, I started listening to like Knocked Loose because they were going on tour with Every Time I Die for like a year straight. And then it was just like a trickle down.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started listening to Jesus Piece. Then I started listening to Terror. And then I started listening to like Incendiary. And it was just like I was getting more and more into hardcore. And like I think I got really, really into it when I went and saw Have Heart for the reunion. I went to the outdoor show in Worcester. Mm-hmm. And I went because Vane was opening and I really wanted to see them. And it was $30 for a ticket.
That's crazy though. That's like really good.
So, because my friend was like, hey, I want to go see Have Heart. I don't have anybody to go see them with. And she lives in New Jersey. So I was like, yeah, I'll take a plane down to Jersey and we can drive there together. And I was like, I want to see Vane. Like, I'm totally in. So we went, and it was really cool because like One Step Closer and Anxious played a surprise set because they played the night before. And that was my first time seeing One Step Closer. And like, I was like, whoa.
Love that shit.
This is really cool. And so I got really into Have Heart after that. Like I was listening to them already, but like I fell really in love with them. And like, for some reason I started listening to Trapped Under Ice right after that too. And I was like, damn, this is the coolest thing in the world. And it was just like, I came home from that, and Donnie, who's the guitarist in Space, is a tattoo artist. And I had a tattoo appointment with him. And I knew that he was like really into hardcore. He was doing like hardcore shows in Buffalo. So I was telling him, I was like, dude, help me like what shows like are coming up? Like I want to go. And so he started like telling me, he's like, come to this show, this show, this show. He's like, you should just start a band. And I was like, I'm okay. I'm cool with participating and like just enjoying being a spectator. And so I started going to more local shows, but Donnie started writing Space music for me. So that's how Space started too. But hardcore was just like, it started with pop punk and it ended with like Every Time I Die showing me more.
You're like one of the pop punk people that like came out the right way.
Yes, I know. No shade to people who still like listen to pop punk, because it's like, if it makes you happy, it makes you happy. But like, I listened back to like the stuff I was listening to in 2014. I'm like, holy, this is bad.
It's okay. I loved the Real Friends, like that first EP.
Yep.
With like, I don't really think that I'm ready.
Yes. Yeah. Sleepy eyes and bony knees.
Yes.
No, I was like, State Champs was like my shit.
Oh, fuck.
Like the Finer Things era. Whew. Ooh, that's still a really good album. I can't even front.
Did you ever go through like a Modern Baseball phase?
Oh, yeah, of course I did. I saw Modern Baseball and the front bottoms open for Brand New.
Hell yeah. Oh, man. What a show. What a show.
Devil and God full. It was that tour. I know Brand New is canceled, But come on.
This is my thing, though. This is my thing. Those songs are really good. Like every album is good. So
I know.
me and
I
my I feel a little guilt maybe sometimes,
Yes, for sure.
but I
But
also
like,
like to cry.
dude, sewing season, Millstone, man. Yeah. Here's the thing is like Jesse Lacey, if I ever saw him, I would probably beat the shit out of him. Good thing he doesn't leave his house. But Devil on God was a really important album to me.
Mhm.
And I unfortunately will not ever be able to not feel that way.
Yep.
I stopped
Yeah.
listening to Deja just because of like, we all know why. But like Devil and God is just like a really good album.
It's so good. I think it might be one of the best like alternative albums ever written.
I 100% agree.
It's in my top 5.
Yeah.
So I don't know what was happening in Long Island at that time,
But man,
where Taking Back Sunday and
yeah.
Brand New, and was it Since This Fails also from there, I think.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
I don't know if they're from there, but it was in that era where
There's
all
also
those.
like the movie life. Like they aren't
Mhm.
as big, but like in the same vein.
What's the other one that was Taking Back Sunday? There was another one in that time. Anyway, that's why Koyo is a band. I feel like it's because
No, it 100% is like when I remember when Taking Back Sunday did that like backyard show, like all of Koyo was there. And you know why? They're like probably like, this is it. This is probably like their favorite band, and they get to see them at like a really cool spot. And like like if you listen to Koyo and you listen to Taking Back Sunday, you can see that there is like inspiration from it. And I think they talk about it too.
They do a lot.
Yeah.
I listen to like early Census Fail, and I feel like there is songs that they just 100% ripped off from Census Fail.
Yeah.
Like that riff is from Census Fail, and it's just like they're shredding it, and it's fine. I love Koyo.
Yeah, they're a very cool band. Very nice people too.
Very nice people. Shout out Harold, straight up.
Oh, I don't think I know any of their names. I talked to their bassist for a minute, and he was super cool. And like was like, oh, I know Space. And I was like, hey. I was like, that's cool.
He's so quiet, but he's very nice.
Hell yeah.
Who do I took they came like along. Was that Drain tour they did?
So that was in Buffalo, and that's when I talked to them.
Okay. Yeah, they came through, and I like was like, let me know when y'all get there. And me and Harold, I was like, we'll go get coffee. So the entire band comes for coffee, except for Sal, who's also was in Reign of Salvation. And we get back, and Sal's like, y'all really went for coffee and didn't take me? I was like, brother, you were not here. And I apologize.
They went to Overwinter when they were in Buffalo because our friend Zach Grimm, he tattoos like right above Overwinter where John works. So he was like, I got to take Koyo to Overwinter. It's so funny because like John will just be like, this band just popped in. And I just said hi to them and I talked to them about music for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, that's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of touring bands stop there, which is really cool. But yeah, Koyo stopped in. He's like, hey guys, I was at that show last night.
Great set.
Yeah, literally. And they're like, oh, that's so cool.
That was such a fun show though. That like seeing Drain in a 300 cap venue.
It's insane. Cause like I remember at that show, because that was pre like their newest album. I can't think of what it's called.
FTS.
No, it's like Evil Finds Light, I think. Maybe? No, I don't know. Regardless, the new album. It was before that. So like they were playing like California Curse stuff, which honestly is a great album. We all think that, let's be real. And when they were in Europe that past summer, they had the same driver as us, and then they were done and our driver picked us up. So when we were with our driver for that year, he kept like texting Drain because he's like literally he hangs out with them all the time whenever they're like in the UK and Europe now. Like he's their photographer now. It's
That's
awesome.
Crazy.
Shout out Stephen Dorr. And he was like, hey, this band Space, they're from Buffalo. They're really cool. You guys would like them. So when they played Buffalo, like Sammy shouted out Space, and I was like, damn, that's really cool. And so like I was stage diving like crazy. And I took the mic at one point. He was like, "Spaced." And immediately after the set, I was like upstairs. I was gonna buy merch. And he comes right up to me. He's like, "Yo," he's like, "We gotta talk about Steven." And we started talking about our driver, and he was just like talking to us, and like he was so nice. Like genuinely, Sammy is the nicest person. But everybody in that band is also so fucking nice. And when we were just in the UK, we played Manchester. We played this fest, and this same night Drain was playing. And thankfully we played like at 5 p.m. So we were done by like 6. And our old driver was with them. So I was like, "Hey, can you get us in?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course." So me, John, and Donnie pulled up to Drain, and like he brought us into the green room, and Drain saw us, and they're like, "Oh my God." And they were so nice. They're the best. And it was cool too, because it was a 500 cap venue, no barricade. I literally was telling like a bunch of people, like a bunch of like the British people that I'm friends with over there. And they were like, "You went to the Drain show?" I was like, "Dude, I'm going to be honest. I won't ever see that again." Like the reality of it is that they aren't playing small venues anymore. It's all barricade, but I understand why. They're a huge band.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's really cool. So
it is very cool. Last show they played here, actually, I think they're playing there again. I think that Drain, that Drain. Oh my God, who's on it? End It.
Yeah, End It Terror.
The big one. The big one that we all know.
Yeah.
That the venue that they're playing at again is like the 900 cap venue that they don't do barricade.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that they're still trying to like make it as hardcore as possible, which is the coolest part. Like
I know Scott loves that. He hates barricades.
Oh, I know. It was so funny because he told me about that tour before like it got announced. And originally there was like a possible Buffalo date, and it was at a venue that had a barricade. And he's like, "I'm so mad." He's like, "I don't want to do barricades." And I was like, "I hear you, dude." There ended up not being a Buffalo show, but that's okay. They're playing in Toronto, so I'm just gonna go up for that.
Oh man, that's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm. It's at the Opera House though, so there is a barricade.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a barricade at the Opera House?
I think so, unless they take it down.
I didn't know that. I've never been to the Opera House, but it looks cool.
It's a really nice venue. I genuinely really like it there. They have an upper balcony that you can sit in too.
It looks a lot like the House of Vans.
Yes. It reminds, so like, because the first time I went there was to see State Champs and Neck Deep on that like world tour that they did in 2016. Honestly, awesome show. But they played there, and then like 2 days later they played in Cleveland at the Agora. Mm-hmm. And it was like two very similar venues. Like that's what I like picture when I think of the Opera House. I think of the Agora. When I picture the Agora, I think of the Opera House. It's just like there's like a bowl, there's some standing room, and then there's a little balcony you can sit at. Mm-hmm. Which like that ideal.
It's a sick layout. I like the old style movie theater.
Yeah.
Layout. Yeah.
It's really cool.
There's a venue like that here, but it's a little bit bigger, and the balcony goes like really steep.
Oh, I see it. That's where it's like
cool though. It's scary, but it's cool. Like if you just tumble down, you're dead. But yeah, like it's a cool venue. And I think last time Jesus Peace was here, they played that venue, and it always has a barricade. They will not have shows there without a barricade.
That's sick.
No, it sucks.
Oh, they won't play there.
There's always a barricade.
In my head, I thought you said that they won't play a show unless there isn't a barricade.
No, there's always a barricade there.
That's poopy. I hate that.
Yeah, it's stupid. So it's great for metal. It sounds amazing, but there's always a barricade, and the security kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Is like I don't mind a barricade as long as the security is cool, but like as soon as the security are a bunch of assholes, like it ruins everything.
Yep. They get like power hungry. I don't know what the deal is.
Oh, I hate that. Like, I like Velvet Underground as a venue, but like, I'm sorry, I hate going through like the 5 checkpoints of security just to get back inside. And like, they can be so weird about like crowd killing. Like when we played with Tsunami at Velvet, literally like they had to have a meeting and be like, there are going to be people and it's going to look like they're fighting, but they aren't fighting. And the security's like, what? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And so like they were, from what I could tell, they were cool about it for that. But when we played with Military Gun, I think during our set, it was like, if people were moshing crazy, it was like, okay, it's a hardcore band. And granted, I understand this, but I guess someone was crowd killing during Military Gun. And they got kicked out.
But why do you don't need to do that?
Yeah, it's so funny because like, I think I heard that from someone else on the tour. I don't know who told me, but Ian from Military Gun was with me and he goes, why the fuck are you crowd killing for us? And he was like, you're just so stupid if you do that. And I was like, I get it. He's so funny.
David was telling me that Ian actively tells people not to mosh. Like he said it in Montreal. He was like, please don't mosh. Like, please don't mosh for this song. It's not a mosh song.
So at the Montreal show, because I did like a guest spot during it and our friend Liam was filling in on guitar for us. And he just turned 21. So like, he was like, oh, I'm of age here. I'm going to party hard. And like got really drunk and he tried to stage dive. I don't know if you saw it. Yeah.
Yes.
There's a video and he just dives and you just see him fall flat.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian was like, don't do that. And after the set, he went up to Liam and was like, why the fuck did you do that? Liam's like, I don't know, I'm drunk. And he was like, okay. And then he just like patted him on the back and was like, all right, buddy. It was so funny. I literally said to Liam, I was like, don't stage dive. This stage is literally as tall as me. Mm-hmm. And like, the crowd is not going to catch you. He's like, I don't care. And I was like, okay.
Damn. I respect the hustle.
I know. Being 20 years old and not caring.
I'm 30. I have to pick when I stage dive. Like I have to be like, can I handle the repercussions of this action?
That's how I feel now. Like I love to stage dive, like genuinely out of all of the like moshing umbrella things, like stage diving is my favorite just because it's so easy and fun to do. Mm-hmm. But I am very like smart and calculable about when I can do it. And also it hurts my body a lot. Mm-hmm. But Despair played like their first show in forever and it was Integrity and Despair.
Oh.
And Scott was like, you know what I'm going to say. And he, every time, whether it's Terror, Buried Alive, any Scott vocal band, he will find me in the crowd and go, Lexi, you know what to do. And I'm like, yes, sir. And then I get up there and I stage dive. But I was just having so much fun. I literally stage dove probably 15 times that night. And I'm not even joking. The day after, I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Like my knee was swollen. I was so sore and tired.
You got more Sky Miles than the FUBU shirt guy?
Dude, I commend him because he's like diving the entire fest, no matter where he's at. We played Flyover Fest, not last year, but the year before. Mm-hmm. And he was there. And it's so funny because I didn't realize it was him until I saw him do like the move. Oh, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, it's the FUBU Flyer. And he was like stage diving during our set. And I was like, we've made it.
Supports everyone.
I was like, we can quit.
He puts on for the scene, everywhere.
It's so cool. He's honestly like, shout out to him. I don't know his actual name, but like, he's the GOAT.
I don't even know if we know where he's from.
I think he's from Texas.
Yeah, I think I talked to somebody like from Dallas and they said he's like in a band from Dallas or something.
Oh, that makes so much sense that he's from like Dallas. The scene is so sick.
It's insane.
Yeah, like Denton, Fort Worth, that shit.
And they're scary.
From.
This where who?
Like Ballista.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Ballista, Ozone. There's so many cool bands from there. True Grit. Shout out Edward.
Yes. Love Edward.
So awesome.
Man, there's so much I wanted to get into.
I know, I just looked at the clock. It's like, we've been yapping for an hour.
Yeah. Let's talk about the LP. This is all we ever get. I love the direction that y'all have gone in. It's very spaced, very, very, very spaced, but like refined. Mm-hmm. I'm loving that.
Thank you.
How was the production on that? Were y'all in the studio? What was going on? Who'd y'all record it with?
So we recorded with Jay Zabricki, he works at GCR, which is in Buffalo. It's the like studio owned by the Google Dolls.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. And like Jay has worked with like He's worked with Terror. He's worked with Mind Force. He's worked with Every Time I Die, Trail of Lies. Like he has a very good like catalog of bands that he's worked with. He did the like newest exhibition release, and that was like our way of being like, yeah, this sounds really cool. We should do this. And he's also a friend of ours. But like going into the writing process, because we had already like kind of written a bit of it. Like when we released Boomerang and Cycle Killer, we had like at least half of the EP done by then. And we were like talking to Rev, like about to sign. And Sammy Siegler is the one who we've been talking to from Revelation. And he was like, I want you guys to pick 6 songs that you think are what you want to like encapsulate into this record and make a playlist. And you guys just have to listen to it. So I was like straight up listening to the most hardcore I've ever listened to in my entire life, which like sounds insane because I feel like anybody who listens to strictly hardcore is like insane. But it like really helped me get into the mindset of being like, okay, I want to make the hardcore record that we can make. Mm-hmm. So we all had that mindset. And I think that helped a lot because you can like hear it in the album. Like it's still space. It's still like hardcore, but there are like new elements that we brought in. Like some of the breakdowns are heavier than the others. And like some songs just sound different than what we're used to, but like it still felt right. And so going into the studio for that, all of the guys had worked with Jay before. So they were like super comfortable doing everything. And this is my first time working with him, but like I've known him for years. Mm-hmm. And doing vocals, I was like a little nervous, but he was so cool to work with because I would like do a line and he'd be like, okay, that sounds cool, but what if you did it this way instead? And he would suggest different ways of doing it. And I was like, shit, I wouldn't have thought of that. Like any vocalist out there might relate to this, but like when you perform a song live enough, you start to like add things into it that you didn't have in the recording. You're like, shit, that would have been really cool. So I'm glad that he did that because I probably would have picked up on the things that he told me to do after the fact. Right. So it's cool that it's on the record. And yeah, it was really easy. I felt really comfortable working with him. And then Rev told us to send it off to Dead Air Studios. Mm-hmm. And Will Killingsworth, I believe his name is, did the mastering. And it sounded fucking awesome. Like huge difference from what it originally sounded like. And yeah, that is how we did the record.
That's sick. Was it your first time doing like studio? Because I like on Space Jams, were y'all recording with somebody else or was that like an in-house?
So we worked with Nick. I forget his last name. It starts with a B. It's like a long last name, but
Nick B.
Yeah. It's like, I can't think of it, but shout out to him if he's listening. He's great. We worked with him because Donnie's worked with him before. Mm-hmm. And he has a legit studio. So like I was used to that. And then we did Boomerang and Cycle Killer with Davis Maxwell.
Oh yeah. From Schoolhouse.
Yeah. So like his was like a bit more DIY than what Nick's is like, but it was still like great quality. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember he hit us up to like be like, hey, I want to record you guys, and sent us the like Gavel promo. And I was like, damn, this sounds cool as fuck. Yeah. And that's how we found out about Gavel.
But Gavel. Cool. I love Gavel so much.
I like just booked them in Buffalo in like 2 weeks. They're playing here. I'm so excited. It's cool too because they played a show with us in Buffalo last year. And like that was like right when the scene was like young kids I've never seen before coming to shows. Mm-hmm. So like they eat everything up that comes through. And so when I announced the Gavel show, like all of those young kids were like, yes, I can't wait to see Gavel again. And I was like, yes, this is so cool.
Oh man. I'm happy for them. I'm happy that they have fans in Buffalo. That's crazy.
I know. It's so because like a lot of the time, like the show that Space is playing tonight in St. Catharines, like it's an hour away. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of the times the people in Buffalo are just coming to the show. Mm-hmm. In like St. Catharines or even Toronto, like it's close enough now. So like the Ontario, like Buffalo, like scene is just like so like strong right now. And it used to be like that, like early 2010s. So it's cool that we're like back at that stage again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that scene, like the Hamilton area has got a lot of great bands. St. Catherine's, like Reality Denied.
Yes.
Mil-Spec, Best, or what's it called? Yeah, Best Wishes.
Yeah.
Wild Side.
Amen.
Oof. I'm a little biased to them. I love that band.
And there's Terminator now.
I don't know Terminator.
It's people from Wild Side. I think it's the drummer of Wild Side who's
Jacob?
the singer. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about this.
Dude, listen to the demo. It's sick.
I'm gonna check it out. I just saw Mil-Spec with the Collateral and Distort. Yeah. I always mix those two up.
I missed that tour. But yeah, Terminator's playing in Buffalo with No Warning and Haywire at the end of the month.
Jesus help me. That's a crazy show.
I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Oh. I don't even know if some of those bands can come into Canada. Like, I
don't know if Haywire can.
That's what I'm like, Haywire definitely cannot come into Canada.
I remember Space was talking to Conservative Military Image about like doing some shows together, and it just ended up not happening. Like we just didn't have the right schedules at the time. But we were talking about maybe doing Montreal, and they were like, yeah, we just got to see if we can all make it into Canada. And I was like, word. And they were like, oh yeah, we can't. And I was like, cool. But they're so cool.
Just be straight edge.
Honestly,
so many DIYs. Not DIYs, DUIs. Everybody's got DUIs.
But I also am just like, I kind of respect it. Like you act like you are hard and you are hard.
You are hard. You got gun charges.
Compared to you.
Yeah. Me too. I just act hard on stage. Yeah. So you just gotta act hard on stage, but then you just gotta be like a nice puppy person off stage.
Yeah. Like the singer of CMI, nicest man ever.
Mm-hmm.
And like on stage, I'm like, you are terrifying.
So scary.
Yeah, but it's so sick.
We talked about the Spiritual Cramp tour. Awesome tour.
I fucking love Spiritual Cramp.
Spiritual Cramp, incredible. Like it's rare that I'm like blown away by a band live.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I
love that band.
Yeah.
Mike B, their singer, nicest person I've ever met. He's also so funny. On that tour, he was like, at the end of it, we were like getting everybody's like information to like keep track of everybody. He's like, oh, I don't have Instagram. And we're like, okay, cool. And then like 2 weeks later, he made an Instagram and I followed him and I was like, Mike B. Like, hey.
I still think one of the best stage managers I've ever heard is him going, they call me Montreal Mike.
Yes.
You know why they call me Montreal Mike? It's because I love Montreal. I was like, this is like, I know that half the room doesn't understand anything this guy is saying right now, but this is for me, straight up.
Yes. His stage manager is so funny. We talk about Montreal Mike all the time.
Does he really love Montreal?
So I'm going to have to spoil it. He does say it every night. Like, they call me Toronto Mike. They call me Boston Mike. But like, I think for Boston, or no, it was Philly. He's like, they call me Philadelphia Mike. You want to know why? Because everybody's really fucking mean. And something like that. But Montreal Mike just was like, that has such a good ring to it.
It just rings.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, this is a cool city. He's just so energetic. I love that guy.
Oh man, the whole set was so good. And then like I met Nate from
oh yeah, he's great.
And he was friends with, or he like knows Deadbolt and those guys. So It was cool to make that connection. It's cool that like everybody knows Deadbolt for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's crazy. So it's funny when Ryan's like, oh yeah, I know this person from this band from LA. And I'm like, why do you know that person?
Yeah, right.
So
it's funny too, because like Spiritual Cramp, and I think it's because of Nate, like are so like in tune with like skinhead culture. So like, and like we have a bunch of friends that are skinheads, like Violent Way from Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And like just like because of the Buffalo connection, like wherever we go, they're like, "Oh, Buffalo, like you know Violent Way?" And I'm like, "Yo, those are my fucking buddies." Like, so like we like whenever we see skinheads, it's just like I don't know why, it just feels like home.
Yeah.
Um, but it was cool because like we would see like our friends, like there's like this group of kids. Have you ever heard of the band No Guard? They're from Springfield.
No, no.
Okay, they're like it's literally like the singer I think is like 19 years old, like skinheads from like Illinois.
What the hell?
It's super cool. But when we first like played Springfield because of prevention, they were there and we talked to them about like Violent Way and stuff like that. And they were like, "Oh yeah, we have this band called No Guard." Like B from Prevention, the bassist is in No Guard. And they came to the Chicago show and like during Spiritual Cramp, they were like, "This is the best band
Of
ever."
course it is.
I
Of
was like,
course it's the best band ever.
and I was like, "They are." And like afterwards, like they were talking to Nate and all that. And then the next day I was talking to Mike B about like No Guard. He's like, "Oh yeah, those skinheads from Springfield." And I was like, "Yeah, dude." And I was like, "They're the fucking best. I love those kids." He was like, "Are they violent?"
Are they violent?
I was like, "They haven't been violent to me, but who knows?"
The skinhead umbrella is something I'm new to. But it's very broad.
Yeah, it's like
Reggae, dub,
yeah,
spiritual cramp, like whatever
it's
that
so
is.
interesting because like obviously like when you first like experience skinheads, you're like, "Is this?" And then like when you're told everything, you like actually look into the history of it. You're like, "Okay, yeah,
It's
sharps, it's great." And it like I didn't really like understand it fully until like probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, "Oh, okay, like these people that are like have shaved heads and like are wearing like boots and like not like following the lace code. It's totally fine.
Mhm.
Like they aren't bad people." And like now they're like some of my really good friends. So it's like it's funny, but it is interesting. Like listening to Spiritual Cramp, you'd be like, "No, this isn't a skinhead band." But then like you see it's the culture around it. It's like
Yeah.
literally the ethos. Like it's same with like hardcore. Like Koyo for like a good example. You wouldn't consider them a hardcore band, but they are because of the ethos and like the like message behind it.
Mhm.
So like
The attitude.
yes, it's all about the attitude.
It's all about the attitude and the networking.
Yeah. Mostly the networking.
Mostly who you know. What does Space have coming up?
Playing St. Catherine's today, but by the time this comes out, that show's gonna be
That'll
done.
be 2 weeks.
We're doing like a nice little weekend run with Mile End and Fatal Visions. And it's like a record release weekend. We're doing London, Ontario, Toronto, and then Buffalo for the record release show, which is Spaced, Fatal Visions, Mile End, Monomaniac, and a new band called Seconds Left, which has members of Selfish Act, if anybody knows them. Then we're playing. Let me open the Instagram.
Shout out my island.
Yes, dude. I fucking love those guys. Jake is my fucking dog.
Jake is a beefy boy. He does. You don't. I've picked him up before, and he's heavy. He's a unit.
That's really funny. We're playing with Crime in Stereo in Boston on May 25th. And then we're playing in Syracuse for their like, Memorial Day cookout thing the day after. Oh, we just announced we're playing with Terror in Rochester on my birthday.
That's sick.
I'm so excited.
That's sick. Is it a one-off?
So, yeah, it's like one-off because they had a day in between Toronto and wherever they're going next on the Drain tour.
Oh.
And they announced it was just Terror in Rochester. And so we like Donnie texted Scott, was like, "Hey, can Space open that show? It's Lexi's birthday." And Scott was like, "Yeah, of course." Like just hit up After Dark. And so we did, and we like got added, and I'm really excited. So we're doing that. Crime Stereo, Syracuse. Don't think we have anything in June, like a month off. And then we're playing in New York City with Into Another, Orange 9mm, Raw Brigade. Oh, there's another band I can't think of. calling hours. It's like a Revelation Records like
That's sick.
bill. And we haven't announced it yet, but like we're gonna be doing a tour right after that.
Like in June-ish?
July,
July?
August.
Is
Should
it a
be
headliner?
announced. Huh?
Is it a headliner or is it a...
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a headliner.
damn.
I'm just gonna say it. It's a full US.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just like finalizing some stuff on it. But we're really excited for it. And like, it's like, I don't know if you've ever like tried to book like a tour longer than a week.
No.
Dude, terrible. Not really.
I didn't know people still did that.
It's like, we have an agent, and so he's helping with some of it, but like, he's like, you can do the shows that you want to do. He's like, if you know people, like, do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, word. So I was like doing whatever shows we knew people for. And it's so funny because it's like Thursday, I was like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, I need to just like give up. I'm just going to give it all to our agent and just like suck it up. And then the next day, everything was like falling into place. And I was like, this is so easy.
This is great.
I was like everything is great. It's perfect. But like, it's really cool because like we're doing like regional bands kind of for like each region. So it's like a lot of our friends are just like playing shows with us for like a certain amount of time. And we're playing a lot of places that we've never touched before. But we're also like hitting up some like places that we have played before. And I'm really excited. It's going to be really cool. We do need to get back to Montreal though.
Yes, you do.
I know. Maybe June.
I have people that book shows.
I probably could just hit up Max or Alex or Alec.
Alex.
Shout
out Alex.
Sorry, Alec. It's because I said Max.
We fuck with him because it's people call him Alex a lot.
Oh, I feel bad now.
It's fine.
I know it's Alec. I just want to put it out there. It's just because I said Max.
I'll mix Alice and Alex. I just said it. Alice and Alec. I will mix them sometimes, so then it comes out as Alex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't help that there's Alice and Alec.
No, it's very difficult to say that.
Just name yourselves Alex.
Well, cool. I'm excited for that tour, for the announcement. I'm sorry that I forced you to spoil it.
No, I've low-key been spoiling it like to everybody.
It's on Twitter. We going on tour.
Well, literally, like I posted about how like booking a tour by yourself can be hard. And my friend was like, hey, are you playing DC? I was like, no, but we're playing like surrounding areas. He's like, Baltimore? And I was like, yes. So,
sure.
Like, I'm like, it's not like it's a surprise. Like, it's not like it's spoiling anything. It's not like we're Metallica. Like, we're a DIY hardcore band.
Mm-hmm.
So people are going to come out no matter what.
It's true.
Hopefully.
If anything, they're like more excited to find out the dates. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your morning.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
And congrats again.
Thank you.
Just have one last question before we go. What's your favorite city for beans and breakdowns?
Okay. Columbus.
You already had the answer. It was meditated.
I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like immediately, because I was just thinking about, there's this place called Parable Coffee.
I know about Parable.
Yes. In Columbus. And for some reason I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, oh, I really want Parable because I'm playing Columbus on that tour.
That's 2 dates already spoiled.
Yeah. So they don't know when.
Is it Dirty Dungarees? Let's just go ahead and put the announcement, like the whole flyers out.
It's not at a laundromat.
Okay, there we go.
But so Parable, literally one of the best coffee spots in the nation. I'm just gonna say it. I don't care. It's fucking good, and the people are so nice.
Mm-hmm.
And the scene in Columbus is so sick. Like they have some of the coolest bands right now. Like that. Like the people that book shows are so nice too, and so easy to work with. Like that was one of the shows that like I like was freaking out about, and then I contacted them and like not even joking, in a day they were like, yep, everything's all set. And they like sent me, they're like, we're going to have a flyer in a few days. Here's the lineup. And I was like, I love you guys.
Yeah. Was it DGR? The guys from DGR?
No,
Okay.
actually, I think it's Vlade's brother, Ilya.
Okay.
I think he runs Columbus hardcore shows, regardless.
Sick.
But DGR, shout out to them.
Shout out. Rejoice. Shout out.
Rejoice. Yes.
Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out DGR. That ankle biter prevention split. So good.
Come on. We were bumping it. I picked up a van for like this past weekend, just for like one of the days. And me and Ryan from Deadbolt, we're like listening to the prevention ankle biter split. And we're just like
good.
Crazy riffs. So good.
Know. I was texting Rachel and I was like, dude, great job. And she is so funny. She was like, I was kind of bummed about my vocals on that. And I was like, shut up. I was like, you sound awesome.
So good.
And I literally was like, it's really cool too, because one, I'm literally watching two of my friends' bands be one. Like, I love Prevention. I love Ankle Biter. Two really cool labels, DGR and Sunday Drive. And also, like, I feel like with splits, it's always like one band is getting more listens while the other isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And with that split, it's like genuinely you want to listen to both bands.
Yeah. I want to see both of those bands live together on tour playing the split, and then they just join on the stage playing the split at the same time, like a battle.
That would be awesome. Dude, yeah, I would love that. I love Ankle Biter. I love Prevention. Like, genuinely two of like the coolest bands right now.
Truly.
Yeah. And just, yeah, great labels, DGR and Sunday Drive. Shout out to them. Awesome split.
Yeah.
So good. That's how you need to do it.
Take notes. That's what
yeah.
Because splits are kind of boring now.
Yeah, because like I hate to say it, like I said though, but like there's always going to be one side that you listen to more than the other.
Yeah.
But like if you're listening to Prevention, it's weird that you're not listening to Ankle Biter and like vice versa. So
good straight edge music.
Yes. I'm not straight edge, but like damn.
I love a good no joke, not straight edge, straight up. Street Justice playing yesterday. Their intro is just straight street fucking justice, straight fucking edge. You better believe I put my face in the microphone.
Dude, it's so funny whenever I like militant straight edge bands are so sick.
Mm-hmm.
World of Pleasure, Weapon X, Dare. Like,
I love it.
So cool.
And those songs are talking shit about me, but I love it.
I know. And I'm like, amen.
It's true. I'm a drunk idiot.
Yeah. Like, I drink, I smoke weed, and I deserve this.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Lexi, thank you so much. On that note,
yes.
I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me.
And see you next time you're in Montreal.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. I want to say a huge thanks to Lexi for hanging out on the podcast. Be sure to check out This Is All We Ever Get, the newest release from Spaced, available on all listening platforms now. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can find out more information about the podcast by following us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns or on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. Until next week, be sure to stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up.